Hey, everybody, it's great to see you here again. Today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be talking about something that's really important for every marriage. And what they're called toxic traits. Okay, now, toxic traits can slowly damage the love in your marriage and the connection between you and your spouse if you're not careful. And what I want to do is I want to explain how these things hurt our marriages and our relationships, but I also want to share how to get rid of those toxic traits and help you build a stronger marriage, a stronger relationship. You see, I know this, no matter how long you've been married, if you've been married for years or only a few months, these things still enter into your marriage if you're not careful. And I know that this session is going to help you recognize and help you remove those things that can harm your marriage. So very quickly, what I want to do is go over them, and let's get started on how we're going to do that. First, what I'm going to do is I want to explain to you what are toxic traits. Well, toxic traits are things that we do that make your spouse feel unhappy. They can feel frustrated, or they can even be downright resentful. And if we're not careful, they can damage the marriage. They can damage the emotional connection that holds a marriage together. Now, there are usually about 6 common ones that I want to go over with you today. Very quickly, they are self-centered needs, there's judgmental attitudes, there's emotional explosions, there's deceptive behavior, there's irritating behavior, and then finally there's individual initiatives. So let's talk a little bit about each one. And let's talk about how they might show up in real life. The first one is this. The first one is self-centered needs. Now, what that is, this is when you pressure your spouse into doing something that they don't want to do. For instance, let's say, I don't care if you're tired, but we're going to go do it anyway. That can be really tough sometimes. And then there's judgmental attitudes. These are criticisms or talking down to your spouse. Not good. And when you do that, what happens is it can make your spouse feel really bad. It's very hurtful. For example, you can say, "You always do that wrong." Stuff like that. And it makes your spouse feel very small. The next one is emotional explosions. Now, I think we all know what that one is, right? It's yelling, it's slamming doors, it's throwing plates, whatever. Or in other words, it's even giving the silent treatment. And what that can do is it can create a fear in the relationship, and it can push your spouse away. And then we have deceptive behavior. Basically, that's lying. Whether it's a small lie or if it's a big secret, what it does, it destroys the trust in a marriage. If you ever thought about stuff like this, like, they don't need to know this. They don't need to know anything about this. I want you to think about how you would feel if your spouse kept something from you, hid it from you, something that was very important. And then finally, there's irritating behaviors. Irritating behaviors are little habits like leaving your clothes on the floor, or maybe chewing your food with your mouth open. Right? All of these things can add up. And what happens is it can cause a lot of frustration in a marriage. And then you have individual initiatives. This one is when the spouse makes decisions without even thinking about how it affects the other person in the relationship. Right? For example, let's say, here's a big one, spending money. Spending money without talking about it can lead to a whole lot of problems in a relationship. So those are 6 of the toxic traits that can really cause damage in a marriage if you're not careful. So the next time what we'll do is I'll go over each one in a little bit more detail so you can definitely see what it's all about. You don't want to miss out, okay? So listen, hit that subscribe button, and then make sure you tell everybody that you know that's married that they don't want to miss out on this channel, because there's going to be a lot of great information that we're going to be sharing with you. So until I see you again, remember this, darling, one of us is crazy, and I think it's you. I'll see you again real soon.